Actually, our first film, Single Creek, had just come out. And after that film came out and I saw Roger's testimony, I had read all of his books. And so I was really impressed to try to reach his estate. Has anyone asked the family for permission to do a film about Roger's life story and dramatize it and bring it to life for a new generation? I call this the film that almost never happened. I actually started trying to reach out to the family through mutual friends. I was able to get phone numbers and stuff. And long story short, 2 films later and 3 years later, I really didn't see anything else that God had for me to do. For those who think this is glamorous, doing films, Christian films, if it was about the money, I can assure you, I would not have signed up for this. So, because I knew that God saved my life, Steph. God saved my life in my mother's womb. My mother had a miscarriage, and my mother didn't even know she was still pregnant. She didn't know she had twins. This was right before ultrasound was invented, and her OB doctor dilated her cervix, went in with forceps, pulled out all the birth material he could to try to minimize the bleeding, and then he gave her the drug Methergin. Many viewers know that drug was an early stage abortion drug that it was used it contracts the uterus and forces everything out. Nobody knew that there was another pregnancy in her womb at the time. And it's a long story, but there were a lot of reasons why I shouldn't have been born. And if I would have been born, I should have been missing arms and legs and fingers and toes. I have wanted to serve the Lord my whole life, and I've done it very imperfectly. But I praise the Lord that He's allowed me to pursue this. But so here I was, after 3 years, finished About Miracles, came back to the Lord. I said, Lord, I don't know what you want from me. As far as I knew, I was dusting off my resume stuff. I was getting ready to go back into the corporate life. I was helping my brother build a house in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and before I left, he's a pastor, and so we prayed together, and he prayed over my life. I'll never forget the prayer that he prayed. Stephanie, has anyone ever prayed for you in a way that you sensed strongly that they were yearning from their deepest soul to the Lord for you? That was the kind of prayer that it was, that my brother was praying in my car before I drove off to head back to Florida. On my way home, Steph, as God is my witness, my cell phone rang about 2 hours later, and it was Linda. It was Roger's daughter. It was January 2014. The year that I actually got started on the project and started getting details and researching and all of this stuff, Cynthia was still around. Cynthia was the detail person in the couple. She died suddenly, December 31, 2014, just 3 months after I interviewed them. And when you talk about, again, God's timing, the Lord, He knows your name. He knows your stress. He knows your dreams. He knows what you're desiring in life. It wasn't until I finished this film, Charmed by Darkness, it's like the Lord was letting me know, Chris, do you think you were ready in 2011 for this project? And the answer is unequivocally no. But technically speaking, the things that you learn in every film that you do, you're always learning. There was so much I didn't know, and that's okay. But I knew I wasn't ready, not just technically stuff, but I wasn't ready for a project like this spiritually yet either. There was a certain spiritual heaviness in this area that you and I work in, right? To understand the devil's devices, not so that we can go down some rabbit hole, but so that we can learn, like Paul said in 2 Corinthians chapter 2. He said, we are not ignorant of the devil's devices. And then in Ephesians 5, that we are commanded to expose the darkness. When you see the movie, you understand that the devil isn't just afraid of Roger's story, but he's afraid that people will actually learn the beauty of truth and how quickly that God can move when someone decides to hold on to it.